Welcome back to the Argyle Breakfast Studio. We have made a quick substitution in the studio for this next segment. Aaron has made way and we are joined now by Rhys Collins and Isaac Pollard, who set up the Trial and Error podcast. Thank you for coming in. This is a men's mental health podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, primarily. Aimed at men, yeah, but obviously all genders, everybody, yeah. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, because this is an opportunity for me to learn a little bit more about it, because I'm not necessarily the target audience, but, you know, having done some research about the topics you guys are talking about, which we'll get into shortly, it's been really eye-opening for me as a woman to understand some of the factors that play into men's mental health. But first of all, can we just start, maybe Isaac, with yourself? How did this come about? When did you start the podcast up?
So it sort of began as an idea a couple of years ago. Rhys went through a really rough time splitting up with his partner, and he's just kind of not somebody that would really openly talk about stuff, but being really good friends and we worked together, I kind of offered my hand for us to go to the gym together, and he could talk to me about, you know, where he is and what's going on in his head. And just one day, at first he was reluctant, and then he just decided that he would go with me one day, asked if the offer was still on the table, and I said, yeah, of course it is, mate, always is. So he made that first step, and then from that he sort of enjoyed talking, and he was like, you know, men really don't talk, and I think we should encourage that. So he sort of birthed this idea that we should just create a podcast and talk to as many people as we can. Yeah.
Do you mind me asking, Rhys, when you decided to, you know, go to the gym and open up to Isaac about what you were feeling, what were your hesitations in doing that originally? What were you worried about?
So, I'm not someone who really enjoys the gym. No, I was just in a place where I didn't really want to talk to anybody. I didn't really want to see anybody. You know, I was just like in my own little rut. You know, because it all started like with the breakup, and it led to, like, you know, to distract myself from that breakup, then started gambling and losing loads of money. So right. I was quite embarrassed to openly say, I've gambled lots of money, I've lost lots of money, and I'm now in a situation where I'm living at home with my mum. I can't afford anything. Yeah. And, you know, I've lost all my money. So yeah. Yeah. So the hesitation. Like I said, I wasn't really feeling going to the gym, and like I said, I remember one day I just thought, I'm gonna ask him if I can still go. He said yeah, and we went. I mean, we were there for 3 hours and I got a 60 quid parking fine because we were there for too long. So that was always a great start.
Yeah.
It's really that stigma though, isn't it? That you, as a bloke, you have to tough it out, and sort of it's the manly thing to do, to deal with it yourself as much as possible. And obviously, you know, when you're raised in this generation, it's not, you know, you're kind of between the two generations where kids now are being taught more to open up and taught about mental health, and then we've got our parents and their parents who are of that generation where it's the manly thing to do to just be quiet and sort of tough it out.
I think, I suppose, part of it as well is from my own experiences of, you know, going through various life situations, almost that fear of judgment of, if you, like you were saying 100%. With the gambling, if you say something to someone, this overriding fear that you are going to be judged and people will think differently of you. But from my experiences, and maybe you found the same, it's never as bad as you think it's going to be. Like, I'm sure when you said this has happened and I'm gambling, you were probably like, okay.
It's so weird because now I find so many people in my situation where they don't want to talk, and I say to them, you honestly, you have no idea how good it is to talk. You know, that I get so many people reach out now and say like, oh, I saw your podcast on this, and or like people say, how did you get to this situation? And I just push them kind of in the right direction sometimes.
So what kind of topics then do you discuss on your podcast?
So when we first started, we didn't really know how to go, what angles to like to hit. So our first one was talking about me and the gambling. The second one, we got this, it's called Bold Cafe, but it's actually called Harry. And we thought we'd talk about bowling in young men, because again, that's not really a topic that is spoken about.
Yeah.
And then what was the third one?
I think we then sort of like diverted back to us, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we kind of didn't know where to go from there. And we sort of were just trying to think of as many things that we could talk about as possible. And now we've moved into trying to just take both aspects of the mental health, in not just talking about negative or but talking about positive spins as well. So our most recent guests, we've had Stephen Kelly, who's like an ex-commando, and he's done TV shows where he goes naked and goes into the wild and he's got to survive. And that was really trying to look at mental resilience as well. So kind of not just talk about the things, but trying to, through the podcast and talking about it, give people some maybe tips from people that have been there and the tools to try and tackle it as much as they can as well.
Yeah, I'm really interested in the second topic that you mentioned, Rhys, about baldness, and because as a woman, I think, you know, you grow up with these beauty standards and, you know, makeup and all things like that, and you kind of end up in a, maybe, I don't want to speak for every woman, but that men have kind of got it a little bit easier. You haven't got to worry about all bits and pieces like that. But that was something that I had never considered to be playing on the minds of men, and I can completely understand why it would, because you also have these standards, you know, whether it's to be really buff and fit and go to the gym and compare yourself to other men, and particularly something like that which is beyond a lot of people's control. You know, you either start losing your hair or you don't, and you see a lot of men going abroad and getting hair transplants and things like that, and wanting to feel good about yourself. So it was really interesting to learn how that affects people. And what have your conversations been around, I guess, not only the mental health aspect, but how that ties into how men need or feel they need to be physically, you know, presenting themselves?
No, it was good to have him on, because like I know how it feels, because that's why I wear a hat, but like because like it kind of ties nicely, because we had Andy's Man Club reach out to us, and we've done like a mini series with them. And you know what? The first Andy's Man Club episode we did, like, saved my life completely, because I was filming the first 3, really like just doing it because I've had the idea and I've kind of pushed Isaac into doing it. And we sat down at Marjohn's with Joe and Craig, and we sat and spoke. And I was sat there like, I'm not okay. And I opened up on the podcast and said, you know, the week before I tried taking my own life because I just didn't want to be here. And that conversation, I spoke to them about it yesterday before coming on here, and I said to them, like, you know, thank you, because that conversation like saved, like I'm still here now because of that conversation. And then we had like a 6-month break, and we came back, and, you know, I reached out to Andy's Man Club and said, like, you know, you've helped me, so I kind of want to help you a little bit. And we got 4 little guests on to kind of promote Andy's Man Club, to try and make people in Plymouth aware of there are groups. You know, we got Every Man Matters coming on next week. The week after, we've got Man Down, Ryan Millman, he used to set up a running group for men. So we are trying, aren't we, to try and like push out local communities and charities, so people can see what it's about. And
and there seems to be more of these groups popping up, particularly around Plymouth. I mean, you've reeled off a whole list there, and you got yourselves as well, which is really good. And I think what's important is no one's really competing against each other. It's a really collaborative event to get everybody speaking. And have you noticed, as you've been doing this, that there's, you know, I guess people are talking about things more, which is really good, but do you think just this kind of society that we're living in at the moment, Aaron and I were talking about social media and things like that, that the pressures on men and everyone are really increasing?
Yeah, I think social media is like a massive, it's such a good thing, social media, because we can do things like this.
We did an episode on it, didn't we? The social media, and I remember saying in it, when we were talking about it, it's just the ability to look at your phone and compare yourself to your own ideal and where you are, and you just have to take a step back and be happy with where you are as much as possible, because you're constantly comparing yourself, like I said, to your ideal. You know, how you want to look physically, this body part's not right, somebody's got something you haven't, and you're seeing people that are posting just the best bits, just the highlights.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Everyone's social media is so carefully curated to make it look like your life is the best, all the best parts of what it is, and that's not a reality. Nobody's going to put the day where, you know, something awful happened, or you felt rubbish, you looked rubbish, because it's not.
Yes, I remember saying you're no longer just comparing yourself to the people across the street and what they've got. You're now comparing yourself to the billions of people in the world that are all trying to do what you want to do, or, you know, doing the things that you believe that you want to be doing. And yeah, you're watching people's highlight reels that aren't even the reality most of the time. And we've had a lot nowadays of celebrities and stuff coming forward and talking about their mental struggles and their realities as well, which I think is a really helpful thing, in that you're seeing people living your ideal, and everybody's going through these struggles. So that's really what we try and do, isn't it? There's nothing we won't talk about, and there's nothing you can't talk about. And everybody has a brain. Everybody's got mental health issues.
Yeah, see, I think that's the key, isn't it? Like, I think if we all just thought about it like a little bit more, and like, you know, think everyone has got something going on, I think we'll all be like slightly kinder to everybody else.
Yeah. You mentioned just then about some of the guests that you've had on your podcast and how important and integral they've been to helping you. What's the reception been like from what you've been creating with your podcast? And before we wrap up, how can people, because I think you'll have a pretty good audience, you know, demographic watching that will be interested in what you do. How do people listen to you and get involved?
Well, we've got a YouTube channel. We don't do Spotify, do we? But no, we've got YouTube channel, we've got Instagram, we've got Facebook. Just find us at Trial and Error. I think this is a good like demographic football-wise, because, you know, just before we end, like Plymouth Argyle, like Tom Cleverley said a while ago, like it's people's religion. It's not my religion, but it's done so much more, like so much for me in the last 2 years. Like me and my brother, he wants a bit like Isaac said to me, "Do you want to come watch an Argyle game?" Yeah. I used to watch Argyle now and again, but it was never a thing. And he said, "Do you want to come watch an Argyle game?" I wasn't really up for it, but I was like, "Yeah, cool, I'll come." 2 years later, we go every home game together, and our relationship couldn't be any better. And you know, me and Lewis, that like we have bonded over Argyle, which I think is a really magical thing. That like football, like all these players, they don't know who I am, they don't know who my brother are, but they've made me and my brother bond so well. And just over a 90-minute football game. Yeah, it's a routine. It's something nice to look forward to, whether the results are good or bad. It's you know, you can still take something positive out of it. So just to reiterate, then, if people want to find you, YouTube, and is it just searching Trial and Error podcast?
Yeah, Trial and Error podcast. Yeah.
It might be something fancy like Trial _ and underscore
it's got
Error 811, I think.
Little characters in there with a little microphone in the middle. Little character design I made up of Rhys and his hat, and with a mic in the middle, and our motto is we'll talk about it. Brilliant. Like I said, you know, there's nothing we won't talk about. There's nothing that can't be talked about. And as Rhys said, it's all about bringing people together from whatever it is, football or these communities like Andy's Man Club and anything like that, over anything, just a coffee or the gym like we did, and just talk to people. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk a little bit about it today. It's been really eye-opening, and I think you're doing amazing work, and I hope you get a few more viewers from you guys watching at home.